There we are. Hi. Okay, I had to turn off my webcam and turn on this. So, hi, everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulty. I have no idea who is here with me right now and who is not. But Q&A mode is on. And so hopefully you will be able to ask questions at some point if you join me here in the Google Hangout. I don't know how this works on YouTube. I kind of had to turn it off because it was causing a really bad echo. Okay. So I said that if, I was by myself for a few minutes, that I was going to just go ahead and start in on a basic run through of how to read tarot. And one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about that is because I'm very much about, how can I put it? I'm one of those practitioners that's trying to put myself out of a job. I'm very much about people taking control of their healing, taking control of their ability to do and think and be for themselves. Also doing some light adjustment here, seeing how that works, and things like that. So I like to empower people to do their work. That's one of the things that I think I'm called to do and good at. So a lot of people have this thing about oracle readings, oracle decks, tarot, like it's really intimidating for some people. They have a lot of questions about what's right, what's wrong, good, bad, what have you. I'm going to turn this lamp off. If that helps with the light. Not really. Never mind. Like I said, we're doing some adjusting here. This is the first time I've done a live hangout, so and I'm working with some new equipment. So sorry if I'm making anyone dizzy. But yeah, so tarot is pretty old. If I'm not mistaken, it's been around since medieval times. It is sort of couched in esoteric themes, symbolism, things like that. There is some Christian connection. I actually got this book years ago, Meditations on the Tarot, and it says A Journey in the Christian Hermeticism. And I actually got this book at a Catholic retreat center that's run by the Sisters of Mercy. It's really awesome. It's in California, just outside of San Francisco, I want to say. But they have an awesome bookstore. The Sisters of Mercy are very interesting if you know anything about them. But so there is some connection to ancient or early Christian in the sense of Catholic imagery and understanding about the tarot as well. So if you're interested in things from that perspective, look into it. But there are four suits in the tarot. You have swords, pentacles, wands, and cups. Okay. And so those have to do with, some people say that the playing cards that we use now, the spades and the hearts and all of that, I don't know which came first. I'm not even going to try to talk about that. Somebody can chime in later if they know. But playing cards are, I've heard, are a simplified version of the tarot in some ways. So cups, I tend to think of cups as sort of the fill in the blank cards. Cups tend to talk about emotional fulfillment, spiritual fulfillment, the things that are going to literally, fill your cup, fill you, figure out, help you figure out how to get where you're going. Wands tend to speak to education, work, things you have to learn, things you have to do, journeys you may have to go on in order to get where you're trying to be. So that's wands. Pentacles or coins, I tend to think of as the abundance cards. Some people call them the money cards, but they are about abundance. And abundance can be any good thing. It doesn't have to be money. Abundant. It could be abundance in love. It could be abundance in joy. It could be abundance in anything. Just anything that makes us feel more abundant, makes us feel more joyful and be more joyful. Things that add to the sweetness of life. Those are what the pentacles speak to. And the swords are, potential challenges, obstacles, things that could stand in your way eventually. Um, Sometimes they're a little bit of a warning, like a little bit of a yield sign. Sometimes they're a stop sign, and sometimes it's a little, flashing red light, like warning, warning, warning. Um, you may want to pay attention to this in order to make sure that you can move forward, and do what you can do. So those are the four suits of the tarot, and each one has several different cards. So there are 10 cards, 10. No, so there's going to be a one of swords, a two of swords, a three of swords, and so on, up to 10. And then you have the court cards. So you're always going to have a king, an ace, a king, a queen, a knight, and a page. And the page can be thought of too as like a prince or a princess kind of thing. So they have their own symbolism. So an ace is sort of usually what I think of them as like mastery, achievement, victory over a situation, that kind of thing. A king is sort of that again, another level of mastery, but on a personal level. Aces are more like spiritual mastery. Kings and queens are more material mastery, like you personally yourself of a situation. Again, king from the masculine perspective, queen from the feminine perspective. And that honestly is just sort of a way of, again, compartmentalizing and how can I put it? Conceptualizing it. Gender is what it is, but we use these sorts of terms to kind of just put them in a container that the human brain can understand. So the king leans toward the masculine, like, again, finger quotes of what we think of as masculine, action, authority, again, material power, sort of personal power. That's sort of the masculine thing. The feminine is the more receptivity, allowing, accepting, doing, but in a from an intuitive standpoint. So doing from the perspective of working from your heart and your spirit. That's more the feminine side of things. The page or the young cards are usually about something that's still emerging, something that's still manifesting in some way. Again, the king and the queen, and a page, generally speaking, a page used to be sort of a knight in training. A knight, again, is sort of the action cards in a suit. So the knight is sort of movement, travel. Where are you going? Where have you been? What are you fighting? What are your challenges? Because knights used to slay the dragons and do all that kind of. So that's a brief overview of the court cards, and that's again for the suits. So those are the minor, or what's called the minor arcana. Now the major arcana are the main big picture sorts of archetypes that come in, and so that's where you get into the fool, the magician, the hermit, the lovers, the tower, the devil, the sun, the moon. Those are the major arcana. Some people, when they first start reading cards, they basically just take traditional tarot cards. They take out the major arcana and just read with those at first. Some people start like that. If you're like me and you just jump in with both feet, you take the whole deck and just play around with it and see what happens. That's kind of what I did, what I wound up doing. And And when I say traditional tarot, I mean, so when I say traditional tarot, for me, that I'm talking about the Rider-Waite tarot deck. This deck has been, it usually comes in this little, it's a larger over box, but this is the smaller box. Sometimes you'll see them just like this. This is the Rider-Waite tarot deck. And this was designed back in the 70s. If you can see that. And so this has sort of become the traditional tarot deck, basically based on some of the older images contained in the tarot. Now they also have I think it's the Marseille tarot, that actually is in French, that goes through the whole deck, but from like the really medieval, like woodcut type, recreated woodcut things. That's a whole nother visual layer, but it's medieval tarot. So so the Rider-Waite deck, just to give you an example. So these are some of the cards you'll see. So this is the Star. This is one of the major Arcana cards. So you see there's no suit or anything on it. It's just itself, the Star. When you get into the court cards, so again, this is the Queen of Swords. This is a card that I have a little bit of experience with. She came up for me a lot. So this is Queen of Swords. So that's an example of a Queen card. And then you have all these. For some reason, I picked up a bunch of major Arcana. This is an example of a cup card. So every cup card is going to have these little cups or vessels on them, for instance. Let me see. This is one of the wands. So again, you're always going to see these wands on a wand card. And which ones didn't I show you? A pentacle. This is like, so this is one of the Pentacles cards, and you always see these. And of course, Pentacles, people get a little creepy about Pentacles. For the purposes of tarot, again, they're often called the money cards or the coin cards. So the Pentacles are seen as a sort of a manifestation of coins, money, that kind of thing. But another interpretation of the Pentacle is just a representation of the elements that we think of, earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. And it's just a sort of a symbol of those elements coming together in a circle, and being completed by one another and existing all together in the world. That's pretty much what a pentacle is. There's nothing really evil or freaky about it. Just so you know. Okay, so I'm checking Twitter, and there's not a lot going on there. I'll also check Facebook, make sure nobody's on there. But I am open to doing some readings. If folks have questions or, things that they would like to delve into, I can do like quick 3-card things for folks. And that will also be, if you're interested in learning more about tarot and the symbolism, the best way is to just dive in and start using them. One of the things is you can also find books like this. I found this book to be really helpful. I stumbled on it once upon a time. It's called Simply Tarot, and it's by Leanna Greenaway. So it looks like this. Sterling Publishing is the publisher. It looks like that. It was only $9.95 when I got it. Let me see, published in 2005, so it's a relatively recent book. This gives you really, really good basic rundowns of the cards. At this point, I kind of use this just as a quick reference guide. If I get a card that I'm not really I don't get a lot. I haven't had a lot of experience with. But for me personally, I tend to read the cards as an overall picture. Sometimes I'm led to read them as suits. So if I get like, 3 cups, 3 swords, I read them together. Sometimes it's an overall picture, like a painting. So it's like puzzle pieces. So how I read the cards for me really depends on literally, the person and what I'm getting from spirit at the time. But a book like this will give you the traditional meanings of the cards, which can also be useful because sometimes it's just straight up and down. That's what it is. Other times, you have to get a little bit more less literal and more figurative about what's going on. And again, it takes a while before you kind of maybe led to read for other people. I mean, some people are just naturally gifted, and that's what they do. But for me, I know I read for myself for several years before I was sort of led to do it for other people. So it takes a little time to learn what's going on with those things. So no need to feel intimidated or strange about that at all. Take your time. Figure it out as you go along. Let's see. Hi. Okay. So I do not have any questions right now. Oh, okay. Hi, Prof. He says peace and blessings. Thank you for this. You're welcome. So now at this point, for anybody, y'all probably know there are a ton of tarot decks, like, I mean, a ton. So you don't have to stick with, Rider-Waite. I mean, if this doesn't speak to you, I mean, there are a ton, like I use, Rider-Waite. I also use the African American Tarot and the Mythic Tarot are the 3 that I have right now. And those are 3 that are based on this traditional system of the 4 suits and the court cards and the major arcana. But I mean, there's everything. There's if you like angels, find an angelic tarot deck. If you like, I think I've seen zombie ones. I've seen what else? Skeletons and whatnot. I've seen, fairy tarot. I mean, there's so many decks now. So if this particular one, I'm the type of person, I tend to go to the first thing or the oldest thing or the root or whatever. I tend to do that. If you want to go through a newer system to kind of relate, if there's a particular imagery or something like that that you relate to, you can find yourself a tarot deck. There's not a problem. It's not a problem, trust me. You can go on Amazon. There's a site called, I think it's Eclectic Tarot, that has like a ton of decks. Metric ton of tarot decks out there. So if you don't resonate with this imagery, find one that resonates with you. Okay, so I'm getting a question about a reading. Okay. Feel free to shoot that off, and I will pull some cards for you. Okay, so this question is about being in a rut or a situation about jobs and career stuff. So what is holding me back, or what do I need to do to get out of it? Okay. So I'm just pulling some cards for a question. All right. Okay. Okay. So again, I am answering a question about getting out of a holding pattern or a stagnation pattern around jobs or career, which, as we know, has to deal with abundance. Anything like that also has to deal with root chakra stuff as well. Your root chakra, which is housed around your tailbone, tailbone slash anus or perineum area, just that bottom part of your body, and all the way down to your feet, and connects you with the earth. But your root chakra is all about security, stability. So anytime we're having issues with, or a lot of times we're having issues with jobs and things that sustain us, or things that should be sustaining us or sustaining ourselves, another way to support that work is to deal with your root chakra. And there's tons of stuff out there about chakras and things like that. But it's a good idea to examine why you feel like you're drifting, or why you feel insecure about taking care of yourself, why you feel nervous about that level of life. So that's just a general overall view. So there are 3 cards here. The first card that caught my eye is I believe this is the what, 4? Yes, the 4 of Pentacles. You see on the 4 of Pentacles card, you have a figure that is sitting. He has a little crown on, so he looks like he's some figure of importance. But you see what he's doing with his abundance. He's stepping on it. He's holding on tight to it. There's one here that's kind of trying to get free, but it's really difficult. With the 4, I keep wanting to say 5, with the 4 of Pentacles, the big thing to remember is if you are holding on to things like this, you can't open and accept. Okay, if you're holding your hands like this, if you're holding your arms like this, if this is your stance, you can't be open to anything the universe has for you. So this card often speaks to an issue of there's some kind of, not literal, but there's some kind of spiritual hoarding going on. There's something that you're holding on to that you're afraid to let go of, and that's blocking the abundance. In order for us to receive, we have to be like this, we got to be like this, or something. We can't be like this. That doesn't work. So he has things. He has the abundance. It's present because it's there, but he's got to let it go. He's got to do something with it. There's no motion in this card. He's sitting in this space. And again, he has a crown. He has some kind of importance. This is not a poor person in the street, so to speak. There are some tarot cards that have that dynamic. He doesn't. So that, so it's like, okay, there's the potential for greatness, but there's got to be a letting go. Second card is the Knight of Wands. So remember I said knights tend to be about action, doing, movement, quote unquote battle, things like that, action oriented. And because it's a wand, wands again are work, education, something that you're having to learn, that you need to learn, a skill, a talent, something like that. So there's something that you, how can I put it? The message I'm getting is battling with knowledge. Like, especially in conjunction with this card, there's some element of being one's own worst enemy. But the thing about this is sort of like there's a quest for knowledge, a quest for education, a quest for understanding midst of, or you haven't started yet. And the stagnation on the Four of Pentacles may mean you haven't started it yet. So if there's something that you've been wanting to learn, needing to learn, something that you've wanted to pursue, maybe it's a hobby or something like that, something that you feel like, what am I saying? Something that you kind of have been on the fence about doing, you need to think about doing that or dust it off, take it off the shelf and dust it off. It's time to begin to move towards that learning. I'm also interested in the fact that there are pyramids in the background here, which is interesting. And also there's the horse is raring to go. You know, sometimes on these cards the horse is kind of just stationary, just standing. This horse is like ready to go. But I'm going to try and zoom in here. But the knight looks a little worried about the whole situation. Like he's kind of like, I ain't sure about all this. But the horse is like, let's go. And there are pyramids in the back there. So again, pyramids, in the three pyramids, which is definitely, you know, Kemet, as we would say, or Egypt. So, you know, this pinnacle of civilization, this pinnacle of spiritual and mental ability is in the background here. Again, the figure on the Four of Pentacles has a crown on. The horse, which is sort of like I would think of as like God or spirit or your higher self or your highest self, is raring to go, and you're kind of like, I don't know. So paying attention to where you're feeling hesitant, paying attention to where you're feeling where you're hemming yourself up, basically. That's part of the issue here, because again, you're in the proximity of some big things, some good things, and some valuable knowledge, but you have to either dust it off the shelf, see it as valuable, or you have to go for it. And it may not look like you want it to look at first, but it's something that's going to be valuable to you. So the third card is the Three of Cups. Now, remember, I said the cups are like your fulfillment cards, you know, the sort of, not so much how do I get where I'm going, but, you know, what does it look like? What does it feel like? So you see, these are three people in a very celebratory mood. And, you know, they're holding these cups in celebration. They also have all these fruits of the harvest around them. Like you see like pumpkins and squash and the fruits and things like that. You will be able to get out of this rut, but you have to release some things, some ideas that are holding you back, and also allow that higher self to come through, and you can wind up here. The fact that there are three figures on this card instead of one, like for the other two cards there were two solitary figures. You probably can, this is probably something you can't really do by yourself. In order to get out of this, you're going to need some assistance. So if you have not asked for help, if people have offered help and you haven't taken it yet, this is going to be some kind of collective effort on some level. So you're going to have to think about what that means for you and how that makes sense for you. You know, because that's where you're going to get your abundance is going to come from some kind of partnership, some kind of assistance that is not coming from you. This is not the other two cards, the Knight of Wands and the Four of Pentacles, are suggesting that you've gotten as far as you can get by yourself with this. So you need to try to get your team together so that you all can bring in that harvest together and help each other together. So hopefully that makes sense to you and for you. Yeah, so that's what I have for that. Let's see, what else? Am I getting anything on? Just checking the other social media stuff. Okay, I got a question on Facebook. All right, so I had someone on Facebook ask, should I live abroad this year? Okay, and he said, yes, that does help. Thank you. You are welcome. Okay, so moving on to this next question. Like I said, someone's asking, should they live abroad this year? So, let's see. And for Geraldine, who asked this question, if for some reason you're not on the Hangout, I will post a brief answer on the Facebook page as well. Okay. Should I live abroad this year? It seems like there might be some challenges with that. So the first card I got with that question was the Nine of Swords. Okay. And this card is it's not a happy card. But so we'll come back to this. But the Nine of Swords is always sort of like a sort of speed bump at the very least. So there's a Five of Wands here, which, as you can see, it's a bunch of people with all of whom are brandishing sticks and for some reason arguing or fighting or fussing. And again, because wand cards have to do a lot with work or education, I would say that either there's some infighting where you are currently at your current job or position. That's one possibility. Another thing is that you are having some internal conflict that needs to be resolved before you do anything. So if there, and I'm leaning towards sort of internal conflict. So You may want to really, if you want to do this, if you want to live abroad, you really need to think about why, what you're going to be doing, what's in place, or what will be put in place for you. Definitely have a plan. Definitely know where you're going, know why, and have all of that mapped out. This is not something that you want to do just to do it. You want to make sure it's mapped out. If you have it mapped out, if everything's cool, and this is something that you're pretty sure about, then this could be about chaos when you leave. So if it's a matter of living abroad and not coming back, this may not matter. If it's a matter of, oh, I'm just going to go for a couple of months and then come back and everything's going to be cool, it may not be. That once you go out of the situation, there may be like this whole brouhaha about it, or some confusion that you'll have to like parse out later. And the Nine of Swords I'm sort of using as a sort of a like a background card. And you see this is a person who's kind of sitting up in bed, maybe after a nightmare or something like that, and has all these swords on the wall. So that's what I'm sort of using as a sort of backdrop for the other two cards. Now, the Six of Pentacles is also here. Now, the thing with the Six of Pentacles is you're always wondering, are you the person who is giving the abundance, or are you the person that needs to receive it? So for this, okay, if there's someone who is, if you have a benefactor in this situation, this may be one of those all that glitters isn't gold kind of things. You may wind up owing that person in a way that may not be beneficial for you, and again, it may cause some chaos, or some confusion in some sense. Yeah. And since I know the person who asked this question, we can talk about this a little later because this is really interesting, and I would like to maybe flesh this out a little bit more. But I would say I don't like to say no, because I mean, me personally, I really feel like, there's always a way, or there's always a time and a place for just about everything. So I don't like to say like stop, no, don't. What I would say, however, is that if you do want to live abroad, there definitely needs to be some planning done, and you may need to do some more intensive spiritual work to clear the way for you before you go. But this is not something that you want to do just like I said, like you just want to hop on a plane and just go and do that. There's some kinks that need to be worked out first, and there's some I's that need to be dotted and T's that need to be crossed before you go ahead and do that. So that is yeah, you want to make sure you have some things in place before you, if you decide to do that, you need to make sure everything's in place before you go. So that is that question. Oops, went off my page. All right, so there's that. I'm gonna check Twitter again. Okay, there's no one on there. All right, so that is that. So that gives you a little bit of an introduction to the tarot, what the cards look like, how things kind of can pull together within the context of a brief reading. Again, for me, because my main gift is clairaudience, what the tarot cards help to do is to streamline the information that comes in. Because if I were to sit here and just, answer questions just randomly, sort of, it could, it could be 2 hours before I answer you, because, there's all kinds of people and things that want to like just jump up and say stuff. And that can be interesting. So I try to, that's the main reason I use the cards, is to just, sort of do this with the information as it comes in. And sometimes as I'm looking at the cards, you'll see me sort of pause or stop, and it's because something's sort of coming through, and then I have to translate it into not so much a feeling, but something that actually, makes sense to you as the other person that I'm talking to. And that translation can be interesting. It takes a minute. So that's that. Okay. Checking again. This is very interesting. How this all works with and all. And like I said, this is sort of a learning experience for me too. I kind of wanted to see how a hangout works and how to start one and figure one out and all of that. I'm going to try to do something else, just in case people are on here and I can't see you and or hear you. So sorry about that. I'm going to try one more thing. Okay. All right, cool. So that's fine. All right. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else I can say about tarot in like 2 minutes? Not really. Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. That's really what it boils down to. I have written before about how we really cannot get what we need to get from spirit, God, our ancestors, things like that, if we're standing in a place of fear. That's a huge, huge thing. We really have to be open, remain open, remain conscious of our apprehensions, our hang-ups, and things like that, so that we can walk into our fullest selves. And when we are afraid, and when we are, again, like I said, like this, that can be an issue. So you want to stay open and stay mindful and be respectful. I would say respect, not fear. So, be respectful, be mindful of whatever energies you're dealing with, but don't be fearful of it, or of them. If you're dealing with anything that makes you feel fearful, then it's probably not good for you anyway. So that is that. Alrighty. So wait. Someone said something on Tumblr. Hold on. Let me check this out. Oh, someone said that they didn't know if they would make it for this. Thank you for your work. Oh, appreciate that. And her Tumblr name, excuse me if I'm messing up your pronouns, the Dalai Mama, which is really cute. I like that. So thank you so much. I appreciate that for the shout out and everything. And cool. And I will be doing this again. Like I said, I have new tools to play with now. So this is really awesome. I've been wanting to do this kind of stuff for a minute, but I just did not have the technology to be able to do it. So now that I do, I will definitely be doing more of this. I can't say when I'll be doing it. Probably be more of a pop-up thing like this, but I'll try to do some scheduled events too. All right, I'm going to do one more round of checking Twitter, and then I think I'm going to switch over to Periscope and see if anybody hops on there. And another thing is this full moon. It's been raining for 3 days. You know, I was initiated into a Kemetic water temple, so 3 days of rain. It's like I'm just like so it was like let me burn off some energy some kind of way, because it's been an interesting couple of days and it's still cloudy and misty and all other kinds of stuff. So when I get all this water going, it's a little interesting. And we got a full moon tomorrow. And we got a retrograde coming up just after the new year. So we got like a little bit of a break from the little end of summer where there are all these eclipses and all this and that. And now we're coming into another really powerful astrological cycle. So just, breathe for the next couple of days, buckle your seatbelts, and just deal the best way you can. To be honest, the universe is not playing lately, I swear. All right. So I'm going to end this here. I'm going to go on Periscope and see what's up. And I will be on there until the next maybe 40 minutes till like 2 o'clock. And then I have to go out and try and see if I can find some things and also wrap a couple last minute presents. So I'm going to end this here. Thank you so much for participating and for being here. I hope you learned a little something. Again, I will be doing this again, and I will see y'all when I see y'all. Have whatever you do, however you celebrate, I hope you had a wonderful solstice. I hope you will have a happy holiday season and have a wonderful, wonderful new year. Peace.